We interrupt our program to bring you a special broadcast.
Boom! Headshot!
Hey, it's Clay. How's everybody doing? Got another Counter-Strike Go video for you today, and playing some Office. Still really loving CSGO. I mean, this game is just unparalleled, in my opinion. And you know, as I've been in CSGO, it's, you know, you kind of start watching videos around the internet, and you know, Global Offensive has kind of brought in a new crowd. You know, people who are really into gaming, really into, you know, specifically competitive gaming, but never really were maybe, you know, PC guys, or, you know, never played CSS back in the day. You know, so there's kind of this new crowd that have been brought into the game. And, you know, this also probably applies a little bit to Battlefield-related guys, you know, that are getting into CSGO. And, you know, for some people, they have decided to get it on console. You know, and this, you know, brings up the whole point of PC elitism, because invariably, when you talk about playing Counter-Strike on an Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3, I mean, that is like the best way to get the trolls to come out in force. I mean, that is, yeah, that ticks people off really quick. And, you know, I just kind of wanted to give my thoughts on PC elitism, the whole console versus PC thing. You know, because it comes up a lot, you know, especially with CSGO, with Battlefield 3, you know, and moving forward as, you know, PC gaming, I think, you know, especially if you look at something like DayZ, Blacklight Retribution, League of Legends, all these free-to-play games and mods. I mean, Counter-Strike was a mod. You know, so with all these games, you know, they're a little bit more centered around PCs, and I think maybe, and possibly this is due in part to the, you know, consoles are getting older. The, you know, the PS3 and the Xbox 360 are definitely outdated, and so right now, PC gaming has a very, very clear edge over console gaming. But, you know, I think really the there's a lot of different factors that drives this debate, and kind of, you know, things that motivate these PC gamers to kind of get up in arms and to, you know, be enraged by these console guys kind of stepping on their tread. And, you know, I think there's just a couple of things to be mindful of when we're in this debate. I think, number one, the crowds are very different between the two consoles, and I think that they purposefully cater to different groups of people. I mean, the PC crowd is definitely, I would say, catering more towards a little bit of a more mature, a little bit older crowd. You know, and I think that they're going to be a little bit more critical. I think that, you know, the younger guys, I mean, there's definitely a lot of trolls. I mean, how we've all been on Xbox Live getting trolled by some 12-year-old. But those 12-year-olds, I mean, they're not going to care about PC versus Xbox. They're not going to care about this debate in the same way that these older guys are that have been playing games for, I mean, 10, 15, 20 years. So you've got a different crowd, a different generation that are kind of butting heads with each other. And I think that, you know, these two crowds value things very differently. I think that the PC guys are a lot more in it for the purity of the experience. They're a lot more critical about games. They've played a lot of games, and so they really know what they want and what they're looking for in game design and things of that nature. Whereas I think, I mean, just to be completely frank, I think a lot of the younger guys are just interested in playing with their friends. You know, and that kind of caters to the experience. I think PC, you can have a more refined gaming experience as a whole. You know, you have more control, you have more customization, whereas on the Xbox and the PS3, one of the greatest advantages there is how simple it is to set up and how easy it is to get connected with your friends. You know, it's a lot easier to find, you know, a group of 5 guys that you know, that you go to school with, that have, you know, Xboxes or PS3s versus, you know, finding those same group of guys who has gaming PCs. I mean, it just is a lot more difficult. You know, and that brings up another point, is the startup costs. I mean, getting a gaming rig, you know, a lot of these PC guys are also, you know, they write code. They, you know, are in computer science. They do this almost for a living, and they've been, you know, messing around with PCs for 10 years. You know, I build my own PCs, and I've been into PC hardware for years and years and years. This is probably my 3rd or 4th build that I've had in the last, I don't know, 5 years. And I know that I do, and I think that I speak as a whole in terms of the whole PC crowd, is we take a lot of pride in our builds. And I think that there's a lot of pride and satisfaction when you know that, hey, you know, maybe you spent $1,000, but you got a killer rig. And if you go to Best Buy, you could compete with something that's, you know, way more high-end. You know, so I think that the rig is a big factor. You know, PC guys are really proud of their rigs. Whereas, you know, what, does it take $200 to go to Best Buy and get an Xbox, and your mom probably bought it for you? So, I mean, not saying that that's bad or wrong, but it's just very different. It's, you know, it's informing these people in different ways. And, you know, and if you also look at kind of the roots, like I said, PC gamers are older. They have roots in, you know, SNES. They played NES. They played Atari. They played Sega Genesis. I mean, they've been playing games for a really long time. And so, you know, they're not looking for a cheap thrill. They've had that before. They're looking for, you know, kind of the next thing in gaming. And they really appreciate the competitive nature of video games. And, you know, it just, they're a very, very different group. And, you know, and I think really it all comes down to the fact that these are different people and they value different things. And, you know, I think that on some level, PC elitism, you know, it just is going to happen. But, you know, I don't know if it's something we should really get all up in arms about. But, you know, that's the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Maybe I shed a little bit of a perspective on why PC gamers are the way they are. But hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you soon.